Hi guys, welcome to Finesse Gaming. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, I'm going to do an unboxing and a review of the Rode PodMic that I have here, and I'll also do a quick comparison between it and my old microphone, which was the Blue Yeti Nano. So we're going to do that at the very end. I will also leave timestamps in the description below if you do want to jump ahead and miss out the unboxing and just watch the review or the comparison. I will leave those in the links below, so just go ahead and check out the description and click on the links. And before we do get into this video, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. We managed to actually get to 100 subscribers literally on the last day of the year, which was fantastic. So huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed. And I know most of you actually did subscribe through one specific video, which was a monitor one. So I am going to do another monitor video for a PS5, and I will actually make some recommendations in that. So if you do want to check that one out, it will be coming up probably after this video. But otherwise, let's jump ahead now and go straight into this for the review and the unboxing. Let's go. Okay, so I've decided to upgrade the microphone setup I've got. So this is the Blue Yeti Nano that I've used pretty much for a year now, really, since I restarted streaming on Twitch. And I'm going to upgrade it now after a year, or about 10 months or so, something like that, to one of the new microphones. And well, it's not actually a brand new one, but it's a brand new one for me. But I'm going to go ahead and go through what we've got. So to start with, we have the Rode PodMic. That's the one we've gone for. So like I said, it's not brand new. It has been out a little while, but it's just come back into stock. It came back into stock on Amazon because it was in quite big demand. So I've picked this up for Christmas. So we're going to go ahead and set this up. And obviously you may know, but to get that working, we need a audio mixer. So we have gone for the GoXLR Mini. So we picked this up again just before Christmas, same time as that. Again, this has been out of stock for ages. It came back into stock, so I thought I'd pick it up and go ahead and use that. So we've got the two things there to set up and to go with them to actually make them work, because this mic arm that I use is, mic arm that I use is nowhere near heavy enough or strong enough for that microphone. I picked up the Rode PSA-1 Studio mic arm as well. Okay, first thing then we're going to open up is the Rode PodMic, and as you can see, it's actually well boxed, to be honest. It's a pretty good boxing. We're going to see if we can get into this without having to cut it. We can't, we need the knife, that's fine. First thing I will say, when you actually pick this mic up in the box, it's noticeably heavy. It is very, very heavy. Okay, there we have it. That's the Rode PodMic, so that's what we're going to upgrade to. It is much heavier than the Nano. Now I've got it in my hands, you can really feel the weight of it. Really good looking microphone though, I do like it. They finished it very well. It's got this like little matte black finish on it. And the only thing I think it says Rode is on the side, both sides I think it's got it on, that's about it. A little adapter on the bottom of it as well. So pretty good looking microphone, I gotta say. That's looking good. Doesn't come with much in there, but that's good. That's all we need. That's all we need really to have, is just the microphone, well packaged and safe, so that's great. Okay, so if you just joined us after the unboxing or you've jumped ahead to this part, let's go into the review. So this, like I said, is the Rode PodMic. It is a fantastic microphone. I picked it up quite a few weeks ago now, and I've been using it on stream and just doing some test videos. Really, I haven't actually used it for a YouTube video yet. I thought I'd use it for this one to start with. But the main difference between this microphone and my Blue Yeti here was this one is a condenser, a USB microphone, so it's a bit different because this one is a dynamic XLR microphone, meaning that the condenser microphones, and by the way, I'm not going to do like a comparison between the two of any of that stuff. That's going to be a separate video altogether. This is just going to be a review, but just really quickly go over it. A dynamic microphone, so the Rode is a dynamic one. Basically, it picks up or isolates your voice far better than a condenser microphone. A condenser microphone picks up a bit more background noise, picks up kind of all the little small subtle little sounds. The Rode is one that's going to isolate your voice far better. And then given on top of that is the USB connection at the bottom of this one, and this is an XLR, so you need an audio interface with this, which obviously you don't with an USB microphone. So that's just going to give you more control over the different settings, which we will look at, by the way, in a second in the video. And this is the spec of the microphone. As you can see, it's a dynamic microphone, like we said, and it has a cardioid polar pattern that does pick up your voice and isolate it very, very well. So let's just go on now to the main differences. With that dynamic microphone instead of a condenser, the biggest one that I've noticed so far in gaming and using it for actual YouTube videos was the background noise is almost completely gone using this one. I used to find that even on some of the YouTube videos when I wasn't moving, I used to get this annoying like juddery sound, which was quite annoying, and I could hear it in the background, and it did kind of bug me a little bit. So with this one, and that was just me moving the desk, by the way, this one really doesn't get that at all. So let me just go over really quickly. I'm going to bang the desk, I'm going to move the boom arm a little bit, and I will play on the keyboard, and we'll see if there's any background sound at all. So if I bang on the desk and move the desk a little bit, you can see the boom arm moving, but really shouldn't be picking up too much sound. This is actually very, very good at isolating the sound, which is just my voice. And if I tap the boom arm, maybe a little bit of sound. If I now move the boom arm, still, it's pretty good. There's no real noise going on in the background, which is great. And if I go ahead now and just click on a keyboard, so this is my gaming keyboard that I would usually use. And this has Gator on brown switches, by the way, if anyone wants to know about that. And if we click on the mouse as well, that I would use for gaming, you can hear that the background noise is actually very good. It's not completely drowned out, but it is far better than what it was with a condenser microphone. And again, this is just a clip of one of my other YouTube videos where you can hear this kind of juddery where I've just knocked the desk. Because all I've done is hit the desk like that a little bit. You can see this microphone moving. You're not going to get much background noise. This is the other clip. Okay, so you can see we've changed the complete look of the room basically by bouncing the light off these walls. This is at its brightest, which you probably wouldn't want. You would want it a little bit quieter than that. But I think that's what these are going to be mainly used for, especially with those diffusers. So this mic as well does come with its own shock mount here, which is actually very, very good at blocking out that noise as well. It really does help. And I will also say the boom arm that I've got, which is the Rode boom arm like you saw a second ago, it is good as well. So all of those things will help block out that background noise. But I will say, as a shock mount goes, it is very, very good, and the fact it comes with it is great. Okay, and the next thing then I will talk about is for this microphone to work, and this is kind of one of the negatives with it. If you noticed at this moment in time, I'm not talking directly into the microphone, I'm talking just past it, and that's because I don't have one of these attached to it. Now this is the one off the Blue Yeti. I don't actually have the Rode one yet, I've got it on order, but when I do get it, I don't know whether to put it on or not. The microphone works by talking straight into the front, which is where the main capsule is, facing this way. So that's where you're supposed to talk to. Now if I talk directly into the front, you can hear the volume here. I'll talk into the side, you can hear the drop off, how much quieter it gets. And if you talk all the way around the back, you can hear how much quieter it is. But because I don't have a pop filter on it, you do get some pops. Although this has an inbuilt pop filter, it's not the best one, and it really does need, if you want the best quality audio, one of these attached to it. And the negative for me is actually this microphone looks incredibly good. A lot of people that have seen it so far do comment on it, ask about it, no one want to know what it is and kind of everything about it. But whereas when you go and put one of these over the end of it, it doesn't look quite so good. So it does kind of ruin the look of it a little bit, which is why I don't have this on there yet, and why I'm not sure if I'm going to put the one on that comes, the Rode one that comes. I may end up doing it for my YouTube videos so I get the best quality audio, and I may actually not do it for my Twitch streaming or any streaming that I do. And that's because I kind of want this microphone to be in the video as it is right now, which looks pretty good. It kind of starts up a conversation piece sometimes. So that is a bit of a negative, it's a bit annoying. And obviously a microphone, the main thing you're going to buy it for is the sound. So you do want it to make a sound as good as you can get it. So if you do have to pop one of these over it, the pop filter, then so be it. But it's just a shame that you would have to, because I think it does look really good. But yes, if you're going to buy a microphone and you purely want it for sound, stick one of these on it and it will be fantastic. But I guess there is no real microphone out there that is incredibly good at stopping that has its own pop filter on it, that's anywhere near this price. So for the price of it, I can't really complain about it. But yeah, they will need a pop filter if you want the very best audio, and you will need to speak directly into the front of it. And that brings us on to the next thing. So we've covered the placement. This is the distance from it. So you do need to get quite a lot closer to this microphone than you did with this one. So I could stand probably, or sit probably about 6 inches, 7 inches away from this one, and it still would be okay, although it did pick up a bit of background noise. This one has to get much closer to your face because it doesn't have the best volume on it. It is quite quiet. You do need to get quite close to it, and you do need to ramp up the gain a little bit, which we'll talk about in a second. But standing this close or sitting this close can maybe get in the way a little bit, depending upon what you want to do. But if I start to move this microphone further away, you'll start to hear the drop off on my voice. So this probably is where I used to have my old microphone, I guess, about that distance away. So you can see it's much quieter than my old one used to be. And if we keep going over to the monitors, you probably can't even hear me when we get over there. So it is quite a lot quieter when you get over to those positions. you do need this one much closer to your face to get the right audio out of it. And then I mentioned the gain. Yes, this microphone is quite quiet. You do need to get the gain up. So that's where the settings, that's where the GoXLR, which is what I use, or the GoXLR Mini is what I've used. That's where that and the settings maybe in Streamlabs or your streaming software really do come in. They're so important because this microphone has to get the gain up a little bit. You're going to have background noise, you're going to have a bit of hissing I've had, like there's a snake in the microphone. You'll have some static as well, so you really do need to work on the settings to get all of those things out so you get the cleanest, best audio you can get. Now the gain I will show you in the settings as well of what I've got it set at, but it's hugely important to get it right, and when you actually get it out of the box, you can't even hear it. It's that quiet. And added to the looks, like we said, it does really look good. A lot of people do want to talk about it. I think it looks great with the black, or the like his matte black finish with this silver. It does look good. And the weight of it, it literally weighs the same as an elephant. It is so heavy. It is unbelievable. It weighs 937 grams. So it's putting it up there as one of the heavier microphones, far heavier than the Blue microphones. Actually, it's a lot heavier than most microphones, especially for its size. It's quite a small microphone, but very, very heavy. So it shows you the quality of the materials. Shows you that they haven't really skimped on anything. It's made of all metal. It really does look good, and it really does feel great. So the quality of it is very, very good, and for the price, it's fantastic. I don't think it can be beaten for the price, for the quality that you get. Okay guys, so before we go into the settings I use for this microphone, let's go into the comparison between this and the Blue Yeti Nano that I had before. So let's go ahead now and have a look at the Blue Yeti. Okay, so this is the sound of the Blue Yeti Nano microphone. This is what I've got set up in Streamlabs OBS with all the filters that I've applied. So this is basically the best sound that I can get from it. This is exactly what it sounds like, and this has the pop filter and the little foam cover on it as well. And I suppose I need something to say, like a little catchphrase, so we can do them both the same. So I know. If you do like this video, guys, please drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn notifications on. Support's hugely appreciated, and it really does help this channel. There we go. So now let's head over to the Rode PODMIC and let's see what that one sounds like. Okay guys, this is now the Rode PODMIC, and if you did enjoy this video, please drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn notifications on. Your support will be hugely appreciated, and it really does help this channel. Okay guys, this is the Rode PODMIC with a pop filter over it, and if you did enjoy this video, please drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn notifications on. Your support is hugely appreciated, and it really does help this channel. Okay, so this is actually now the Rode PODMIC with the bass at 0. So in a second, I'm going to show you the settings I use, and I actually use the bass at -2. But this is at 0, so this is what it sounds like this, and let's just quickly jump over to the one that I usually use, and this is at -2 for one of them. So go ahead and have a look at the settings in a second, but let me know which one you think is best. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think this sounds better with less bass, or do you think it sounds better with more bass? But this is one of the biggest differences. This is the control that you have with this microphone. You didn't have that with the condenser Blue microphone at all. So let's jump ahead now and go straight into the settings so we can see what they are that I use at this moment in time. Okay, so we're going to jump ahead here and look at the settings for the GoXLR that I've got set up. So we can see, first of all, this is the main screen that comes on, and it doesn't really matter what audio mixer or that you're going to use. You need to fiddle about with these settings anyway, but I'll go through what I've got on the XLR. So the mic setup, first of all, if we click on it, I've got the gain up, as you can see, at 62, and usually this is actually pretty good, although it has said I've clipped a little bit, which is when you go too loud, but most of the time this is actually hitting in the good point. So this is kind of where I've got it. I've played with this. I've had this up at 80, which is way too high. I did it at 65, which wasn't bad, but dropped it down a little bit to 62, got rid of a bit of background noise for me. So 62 is where I've got it, and that's probably where I would recommend you start to play around with it a little bit, is to between 60 and 70. To try and get it right. Now, I'm not going to go over this stuff because this is going to be on a review for the GoXLR itself, but for this microphone, that's where I've got it at, is 62. And then if we go on to this other stuff, so this is the settings you can see that I've got. We're going to go over the noise gates, the compressors, and the equalizer, because all of them are going to be hugely important for you getting this right. Starting with the gate, this is now dependent, as most of you will probably know. Again, this will go more into the review of the GoXLR, but we want to get rid of background noise, which is going to be this threshold. So if I lower this too much, you can actually start to hear the keyboard being pressed, and I don't want that. So this is up at -38 for me. I did have it a little bit lower, having watched some other reviews, but it was way too loud on picking up background noise. And again, if you go too high, you won't pick up your actual voice. So you want to get this in the right place. You're picking up your voice, and you're picking up every single word that you're using. It's never dropping off, but it doesn't want to go too low so that you're going to pick up keyboard and other background noises as well. So -38 is where I've got it, and I would probably say there, and between that and maybe 42 is probably where you're going to be. Now, attenuation is that actually, if you put that up to 100, it gives you a bit of staticky noise in the background because the gain is quite high. So again, that needs to be lowered. I've seen people with this at 50, I've seen people with this at 30. I've put it at 36, which is kind of in a good place for me. It gets rid of that little static, hissy sound in the background, so that's good. Attack is 10 milliseconds, which is as low as we want to get it. And the release for me is 150. I think that comes at 200 at standard. I put it to 150. So that's my settings, and you can just change this in the gate here if you've got a GoXLR, which is on to 36. So now we're going to go just really quickly over to this microphone again. So this microphone's sound is okay. It's not the best, but it isn't bad. For speaking, it's actually a very, very good microphone. For singing, we're going to go over in a second, which isn't going to be the best one. But I've had to lower the bass just a little bit, okay? So I've lowered the bass down a touch. Now, most people actually don't need to do that, but with my voice, I think it sounds a little bit better, a little bit lower. Some people will actually raise this one up or just leave it at 0, but I think it's a little bit better lowering that one. I've left the 90 Hertz and I've increased the 160. Now, for the mids here, I've put them both at -1, which is kind of giving me the best sound for my voice. Again, some people raise these up a tiny bit, but most people, I will say, use this at 0 or just below with this microphone. -1 for both is pretty good for me. This 1.5K is the one that you probably will want to make sure is in the right place, because that's where you're going to pick up the mid tone of your voice. And then again, for the highs, I've left this one as it is at 0, and I've lowered this one. Now again, some people, depending upon your voice, will raise this up. All this here is hugely important for you, depending upon your voice. There is no right and wrong. It's getting it right for your voice and the tone of your voice. So if you just wanted to go onto the equalizer at the start, -1, -1, -1. Now, I think for me, this is in the right place. A lot of people will raise this up. Some people have it all the way up at like 6 or 7 at the top here. For me, when I do that, I don't quite find that my voice sounds quite as good. Some people prefer it up here, but for me, I prefer it just down a little bit lower at -2. So that's where I like it. That's where I think it suits my voice and the tone of my voice. Again, if I put the bass up a touch, it doesn't quite sound so good, I don't think, for my voice again. So that's where I've got everything on that. And the compressor to finish off with, you can just move that down to -40 as you saw. Threshold here, I've got this as -16, which is the same as what I use in Streamlabs. So I've left that the same. The ratio I put at 8.1. This comes at 4.1, so you can leave it at that. Doesn't really make a massive difference, but that's where I've left it. Attack again is 2 milliseconds, 100 milliseconds release, and this is the one that I will not say, or I will say do not change, because that does put a lot of background noise in when you make that go up. So I would not do that personally. I would leave it at 0. Try and fiddle about with the gain here. Try and get the microphone, if this is a problem, try and get the microphone closer to your face. And then we're going to quickly jump over to the mixer. Most of this stuff I'm going to cover in the GoXLR review, but the microphone, just so we know, is 86%, and I think that's kind of good for me. That's where I want it to be. That's picking up the right amount of sound and no background noise. So fiddle about with that one again. Just make sure you get the right sound coming through, the right amount of volume. And yeah, post your comments below, guys. Let me know what you think of the microphone. Let me know what you think of the settings. Let me know if you use different settings that you think work well. We could test them out. Okay, so that's the settings I use. Like I said, the EQ, a lot of people will say certain things and they'll tell you to use certain settings. I'm not necessarily going to do that, because the EQ is really dependent upon your voice. If your voice has a really deep tone to it, or it's a very high voice, or whatever it may be, you're going to use completely different settings to other people. So that's the real part of an audio mixer that you need to mess about with. The compensator and the noise gates and the compressors and all that other stuff to get all the background noise out and to get the sound as good as you can get it is completely different to getting your voice to sound as good as you can get it. The EQ is a personal thing. Make sure you do fiddle about with those ones. So this microphone, like I said, isn't the best out of the box. It's still pretty good, but it does need some EQ to make it sound as good as you can get it. And really, you're going to go for more in the mids and the highs to change them about a little bit to get your voice good. But just play around with them. You can start with my settings if you want to, but I would say move on from there and just make up your own ones. Just fiddle about with those couple of ones that I've changed, and hopefully you can get this thing sounding as good as you can get it. And leading on from that then, let's go over the actual quality of it. So the sound quality, once you get it set up, actually is really good. I think for £100, which is how much this cost, is one of the best microphones that you can buy for that price. I can't really think of a microphone that can sound, or has all the settings and can sound as good as this for this price. Yes, you have to buy a GoXLR or an audio mixer on top of it, so that adds the price up a little bit, but most people already have one of them anyway. Certainly if you're going to go ahead and buy an XLR microphone, this is kind of the real entry level, I suppose, of it, and it is very good. This kind of microphone can compete, actually, if you get the right settings with the 400 odd pound Shure SM7B microphones. You're not going to really tell a massive amount of difference when you get the settings right on this, between this and the Shure. There will be a slight difference, yes, but not a huge difference. Not noticeable in stream when you've got background noise, you've got chat going on.
and you've got maybe some music or something else in the background, you're not going to notice a big difference between this microphone and a £400 one. You probably wouldn't even notice a difference between this one and a £1,000 microphone, especially if you do pop a pop filter over the end of it, then it's going to sound even better again. So yes, it's not perfect, but I think it can be very, very, very good actually for the price when you actually do get the settings correct for you. And lastly, this mic is good, but it's mainly good for talking. I mean, it's called a PODMIC, so obviously it's built for that. But if you do want to use this mic for singing or for music, for playing guitars or whatever else, other instruments, then it's not the best one. It is good for picking up your voice, but it is not the best for singing or for music. So just make sure that you're buying it for the right thing. The vast majority of people, I'm going to guess, are going to buy this for some form of content where you're talking, if you're streaming or whatever. But if you're going to use this for singing, there are other microphones that are better at picking up your voice and the different tones better than this one. So let's just give it a rating. First of all, I think if you have it just as it is, it's probably a 9 out of 10. I think it can be used very well. I think this sounds still pretty good. Once you apply one of these onto it, then it's almost going to be a 10. Once you get the settings right, pop filter of some sort, you're going to have a very, very good high quality microphone for £100 or $100. If you've already got a GoXLR or some audio interface, that's all you need to spend. If you need to buy one, okay, another maybe £100 on top for one of them. I bought one the GoXLR for about 120, and you will need a cable as well. But all in all, a fantastic microphone for the price. Very, very highly rated. I would recommend this if you want to upgrade from one of these or a USB microphone or a condenser microphone to something else. This is probably going to be the one I would recommend, unless you want to go out and splash £450 on a Shure SM7B. There's nothing really in between these two. This is as good as that with the right settings. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. I'm going to finish off now with the PODMIC and the pop filter over it so we can hear that properly. And yeah, thank you for watching guys. I really do appreciate it. If you did like it, I know I said about 6 times, but if you did like it, please drop that like, hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on. And also you will find me streaming on Twitch, Facebook and YouTube. Links will be in the description below. I usually stream every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, so please come and check them out. It'd be great to see you there. And yeah, once again, thank you for the 100 subs, guys. It was a great way to end the year. And until next time, keep gaming, keep safe. Good night. GG.